Hey beautiful people, welcome to the weekly oracle guidance for July 13th to 19th, 2020, hosted by Consciously Connected and Mystic Tira. Stay tuned. Hey beautiful people, it's your girl Shakima. I'm just stopping in for today's weekly oracle guidance with Mystic Tira. She's gonna get into the room and we're gonna chop it up for you guys. It should be a good one today. The energies seem pretty hectic and erratic. So it's going to be very, very interesting to sort of see what's unfolding for us this week. So yeah, should be a good little space, guys. You can sort of let me know how you guys are sort of getting on as well. And we can just vibe with it, guys. We can definitely vibe with it. I'm just waiting for Mystic Tira to sort of get into the room and then we can go ahead and dive deep, I guess. It's been quite the transit. Yeah, it's been quite the transit for sure. Definitely an interesting experience taking place at the minute. So yeah, great stuff, man. Let me know how you guys are actually sort of getting on at the minute as well. It's been very eye-opening in a lot of different ways these last few weeks with the Mercury retrograde transit just kind of like shaking everything up. So yeah, let me know how it's kind of been for you guys. I am going to send the live to Mystic Tira so that she can come and stop into the room and we can go ahead and get things going for you guys. Okay? So, yeah, it's been quite the day, guys. It's been non-stop. It's just been up and down. I could have actually done with some meditation today, to be fair, but the stars didn't align for it because my focus was being redirected elsewhere and there was just a constant momentum of things that were really just taking place at the minute. So forgive me, but that should be a thing for us tomorrow. We should be able to yeah, get everything together by tomorrow with meditation. So, hey, David, I'm actually just waiting for Mystic Tira to get into the room so that we can really just chop it up for you guys. How's the week been for you so far? It feels very, very erratic. That's just the best way that I've been able to sort of like explain the energies thus far. It's just like non-stop. It's like the waves are just beat after beat after beat after beat. So it's a little bit touch and go at the minute. But yeah, I hope the come down of the Mercury retrograde is, yeah, it's definitely been a busy start. I feel like the Mercury retrograde just kind of like took out off a lot of our identity and now we're just we're being nudged in the right direction, I want to say, but we're being forced. Mystic Tira is in the building, so we're going to get her into the room and chop it up, guys.
Hello, greetings everybody.
Hi, how are you doing? How are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you. Let me turn my light on.
Yes.
It's lovely to see you, blessed beloved.
Lovely to see you too, beautiful. It's I feel like the energies of this week is kind of it's almost like whenever we get an opportunity to be able to engage. Oh, David's saying hi as well, beautiful. Whenever we get the opportunity to engage, it's just like, oh, thank you. Someone else outside of myself to engage with.
That's better. Sending you love and light to everybody in the house. It's nice to connect.
Awesome stuff. I was just saying, how are you finding the energies for this week so far? How's it been treating you? How's the Monday vibes for today?
Actually, today hasn't been too bad. It's been much better than the last week. The last week of purging was tough. So we're all getting out of it. It's getting better. I spent a lot of time cleansing the house, just throwing stuff out. I felt like I needed to do that, just rearranging stuff. That was a nice feel. Yeah. How about yourself?
It's interesting that you were saying that because I was just saying that I feel like the Mercury retrograde just scrambled a lot of our old identity and kind of like gave us a sense of clarity in the process. So there was a lot of old perspectives dying, and I feel like we're literally in the process of adjusting to this new version that's sort of, stabilizing at the minute. And it's quite the tricky process to be able to adjust to, but it feels nice. It feels like a little bit lighter than before the Mercury retrograde. But it's still an adjustment period.
It's still there, yes.
Yeah. It's quite the week. I'm intrigued. I feel like maybe a couple of weeks from now, it's probably a little bit, the energies would have stabilized a little bit more, and it may not be so erratic once we've like adjusted to this new version of self. Hi Jodie, she stopped into the room as well. Once we've kind of like adjusted to this new version of self, I feel like the energies that feel very erratic right now will kind of, we'll ground those energies, and we'll be able to stabilize in it a little bit more. But I do feel like the next couple of weeks are going to be hectic. I think we'll continue to have that kind of energy, especially because we've got like the Cancer new moon next Monday. So it's still shifting a lot of our home situations.
Yes.
So it's, do you know what? I feel like so thankful to Mercury for all the distortion of my identity that it's really brought on. That's pretty much all I can say. I feel like it did a really awesome job. And I feel like it allowed for me to see my true self, is probably the best way that I can put it. And I had to sort of go through the distortion of pretty much assuming that, I had to be somebody else to be able to just fit in, basically.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, trying to really be who you are. Especially light workers, there's been a lot of, just standing up for ourselves, that people not allowing you to be yourself, questioning your growth. And it's a constant warfare, I guess. But as light workers, we expect these things. I mean, everybody really should expect that. When you're growing, there's growing pains, so it's really painful, and other people might not want you to grow. Imagine when you're a little girl, as much as everybody loved to have you as a baby, I'm sure some people didn't want you to grow out of that baby stage. And so it is with spirituality, where the more you grow in your spiritual self, the more your old self dies, and the people around you might not like this new change, this new transformation. And so there's that conflict and friction that goes on. And it's about not giving up on who you are, living your truth, and really, really fighting to be who you are. I think that's the catch.
No, definitely. I feel like I've had a few of those conversations recently where I've had to say, I know you've become accustomed to someone else maybe a month ago, but Mercury retrograde happened. So that person no longer is. I mean, she's still in here. That's just not my entire identity anymore. I've kind of grown into another perspective, into another viewpoint or lens of my true self. And I'm learning to sort of like integrate that into the person that you're used to engaging with, but also the person that I feel is right for me to continue to grow into. So it's been really tricky trying to sort of like find that balance and communicate tactfully. I think that that's been like the trick with Mercury retrograde. It felt tricky because it's almost like once you kind of got triggered, it was almost like, you could feel the tension in your body, and then all of a sudden you're kind of like speaking from the place of like fighting. So it's like almost all of a sudden you're defensive because now you're triggered, and then they're kind of engaging with you in that triggered vibration as well. And it's like, okay, let me back away from this a minute. That's not necessarily what I was trying to do in the space. What I really meant to do was this. So I found that Mercury retrograde really taught me how to break down the dynamics of my communication in a way where I can actually channel through the tension of conflict. And it's almost like what I observed in that space was like my body was acknowledging other people's resistance to this new version of me, and it was almost like spirit was saying to me, who are you in those moments. It was like, who are you? And I really had to sort of take a step back and say, just give me a minute to breathe so that I can really just regroup, because I feel a little bit discombobulated. I know what I'm trying to say, but your resistance is almost putting a wall up, and I don't want to speak to you through the wall. I actually want to speak to you from a place of openness so that we can have an understanding and an understanding of the experience. So I feel like the Mercury retrograde really taught me how to, one, understand myself, but also to be able to communicate that to others so they can understand where I'm at on the journey as well. And what it did for me was it opened my heart to be able to have an understanding for others as well, because I feel like naturally, because I knew that it was Mercury retrograde, I knew that people were also having challenges being able to communicate what they really felt. So my heart had to grow to be able to accommodate them. and their distortion of their identity that they were going through as well. So it's been tricky but good. Very, very, very intense but good.
It's really interesting your experience, and I think this is going on collectively, because I have a share bit of it as well. In terms of dealing with people. Well, the thing is, people would always, especially it's always, we've been in lockdown, and mostly it's people close to us that triggers us. And what happened is that because we've always communicated in the old way, someone says something, get triggered, then becomes aggressive, there's conflict. And, it's that same old reputation of, this is what I think Mercury was here to teach us, how to try something new. And so, because often when you're even trying to communicate your new self, this newness that you have acquired for yourself, the people around you are not there. So the same way of communicating with them, with your counterpart, would actually be different, because you would need a new way of communication. And sometimes it's non-communication. Perhaps because when you're trying to get to someone and they're not listening, the best thing is to basically just walk away and become the sage and the hermit, but not in a bad way, because then sometimes people do get the message, because you're not going the same old way of communicating with each other, triggering each other, getting into the same pattern of so this is a great thing where we are, because that was one of my lessons as well, that finding a new way of being means finding a new way of communicating with people. And sometimes less is more.
I learned to find a real comfort in silence. Actually, it's almost like okay, I can see that I'm actually having expectations of how you're supposed to receive me in this space, and clearly you haven't got to that place just yet on the journey. And that's, I don't hold you guilty for that. It's just you're where you are on your journey, and that's perfectly fine. So I'm just gonna take my expectations and
the thing is,
remove myself
people do
from this
okay
space.
Some people don't even know that they're on a journey to start with. You have to recognize that your soul is on a journey. This physical body is just something that we've borrowed. It's a bag of bones and flesh, really. But within that, it's a soul, and the soul has come here on a journey. And so one of the distortion that to leave true, which became heightened by this lockdown, is the fact that people are not taught about themselves, about the compass. What is it to be a soul? What are you really here to do? It's not often about jumping into relationship or being a mother or a father. There is an innate purpose of why you, I, and everybody else is here. And that is what we need to find. And so this is where people get confused, and you have a lot of distortion about people identifying with their body, with their color, and all of this rubbish. We're here to do the work, the soul journey work, like to bring something forth into the earth, something that is renewal of the soul of people. And so when we genuinely come together, we are, our heart is burst open. That is so full of love for each other, without wanting to exhort or exploit, but just to be and enjoy that companionship. And I think this is what this lockdown has taught all of us. All of us. I'm hoping that we all kind of get the message and keep it going. That really what really matters is the authenticity and the genuinity of each being on earth. We don't have to, personally, I don't think I have to educate anybody on that. I feel that people need to get that, first of all, that, you're a soul on a journey. That's the basics. And then you start to think about your perspectives, your compass, your feeling, your thinking. And then you start to think about the whole idea of you being one with the cosmos itself. There is no much love than that. That itself is a marriage of the soul when we get to that point.
No, absolutely. It's beautifully put. David said something about, being within the same headspace to get the right messages across. And you're absolutely right, because I think what I was finding during the Mercury retrograde was that I was on one vibration. So I was on one frequency trying to communicate with somebody that was on a different frequency. And I was like, okay, hold on. Let me see what plane of existence you're actually on. Let me try to, communicate and speak the language that you are able to receive based on the frequency that you're channeled and tuned into, and I think that helps myself to be able to be a little bit better. Absolutely, David, absolutely. It helps myself to be able to be a little bit better at communicating, but I also found that it helped for them to be able to be a little bit more receptive as well. Because what I found was that they weren't listening to me because they felt like I wasn't listening to them. And I had to basically kind of like put myself in a position where it was like, what is your heart saying? You know, because they were observing whether or not I was listening based on the way that they were mentally perceiving it, but I was more listening to their heart and their emotion and what was going on beneath the surface of their thoughts. And I think once we were able to like vibrate at that same place, because they were in mind frequency and I was in heart frequency, and I was, once we were able to like identify what frequency we were both on, I think it made it a little bit easier for us to be able to really dive into it. But I'm just so grateful for the Mercury retrograde, because that one just scrambled my whole identity.
The
it
good
took
thing
me
is
down
it
that.
made you realize who you are and on what journey you're
Yes,
on, you know. I mean,
absolutely.
it's like when you said about being, people want you to be small, people want you to
Yeah,
not be yourself,
yeah.
people don't want you to shine with your gift because they're
Hmm.
intimidated, number one. Number
Yeah,
two,
yeah,
they just don't know, how did you manage to just begin to know this stuff?
yeah,
Because you,
yeah,
and it's painful because you can't get anybody along on the journey. It's a personal thing and we all have to
yeah,
go, it's one step at a time, and
yeah.
we're all going to get there. Everybody's going to get there, but
Hmm.
those who are not on the journey, it's much more painful to stand
Yeah.
by and watch
Hmm.
how their life kind of evolves or not evolve.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's a painful thing to watch, and to even be able to start to get them to awaken, like, you know, your emotions and your heart and your thinking,
Hmm.
they're just totally different facet of who you are.
Yeah.
And by
Yeah.
being able to master it, you have to master your
Hmm.
mind. Do not know, your
Yeah.
mind cannot master you, you see,
Yeah.
which is often what people do. And what they
Mm.
say, it's all in their mind.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely for sure. They're asking me to, they're asking me to get
Get
started
on
with the
with it.
cards.
Get on with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on with it then. So I'm gonna, patience is indeed a virtue, David. I think I learned a lot of that during the Mercury retrograde. It taught me a lot of patience. They're asking me to sort of give you the floor, because you might need to dive deep
What?
into the dark side. Yeah, they're just kind of saying you need the floor to dive deep into the dark side to let us know what's sort of unfolding for this week as well. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm just, the
Let's see
floor is yours, beautiful.
what is the spirit got for us. It's been a long time. Well, it's been a while since we've been out here doing this. I think we missed
Yeah.
a week, didn't we? The energies
Yes.
were really heavy during we were
Yeah.
going through the purge.
Hmm.
I thought it wasn't relevant to dig deeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see what is on the dark side
Um,
of the soul.
hmm.
Show me, spirit. I'm gonna take 3 cards. Let me take a deep breath. Oops, my thing is always. I do apologize. You have work to do.
Oh, it's so
I got
good.
you. I got you. Okay, 3 cards,
Mm.
please, spirit, for the masculine energy. Should we start at the masculine this time?
Yeah.
What is the
Yeah.
masculine energy feeling around this time? I think as are going through a tough time. Some of them might have a lot of, there's been depression, there's a lot of anger. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, in my experience around my brothers,
Yeah.
my masculine energy that is around me, not many, but
Yeah.
those around
Yeah.
me, I've noticed there's a lot of depression, not being able to communicate how they feel,
Yeah. Hmm.
frustration.
Hmm.
I'm getting anger even.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 cards. So let's see what comes out. Whoops. Okay. I said 3, they gave me 4. Okay. Right. So the first one we got deceits. Okay. Yeah. Second one, we've got disappointment. Pessimism, being pessimistic. And lastly, we have disconnected. Yeah. So
Can you do the last two for us again? For some reason, the connection was
was it birthing?
distorted.
It was birthing.
Yes.
This is disconnected
Okay.
and pessimism.
Okay. Okay.
Being pessimistic and
Yeah.
disappointed. So some of the masculine are feeling disappointed. There's been a lot of deceit, feeling maybe
Yeah.
disconnected from their feminine. and maybe feeling pessimistic about the whole thing. How do we move forward? Is there even any forward movement? How do we find the courage for some masculine? Because there's been a lot of deceit. And this is also what we're coming out of the purge with. I love my masculine energy. I love it, love it, love it. And I'm just hoping that our brothers would all heal themselves to really know that they're divine and to treat their feminine as divine as well. This is my prayer for the world. Okay, let's see what the feminine has. Show me, Spirit, the three cards, please. 4. Okay, one more. Fabulous. Thank you. Oh my goodness. There you are. Right, for the feminine, this thing just would not stay still. I'm so sorry.
It's so good, beautiful. No apologies needed. Technology has a mind of its own.
I don't know where they're from. I'm sure it's from China. Sorry, China. No offense. Okay.
I love you.
Right. So we have okay, for the feminine we have lust. A lot of feminine lust. It's almost like nothing makes you happy, you know, you can't fill that void, you know. So we also have defensive. So some feminine are feeling defensive. Maybe they don't want to date anybody else because they've lost their masculine. There's been delays. We have delays and exhaustion.
Yeah.
So this is what's going on. And at the bottom of the deck, we have, this is interesting. At the bottom of the deck, we have facade. Facade. Facade.
Okay.
The light is in there. Sorry. Yeah. And at the top, we've got silence.
Okay.
So what I'm getting for this people who showed up tonight, there's been a lot of deceit in this relationship or situationship, and that deceit it's coming. I'm seeing it from the masculine energy in this read because it's stopped right at their side. And so what I'm thinking is that deceit has caused the feminine to be defensive, and the feminine feel there is a loss. So this masculine energy perhaps did not hope to make order to create all this drama because he himself is disappointed. So there's been a disconnection. He's disconnected himself, or the feminine has disconnected himself, and the masculine also has disconnected himself from the feminine due to unresolved issues. So this disconnection has brought delays for the feminine. Perhaps she had ideas on what to do and how she wanted to go about, but that has brought delays. And now, because they're disconnected, the masculine is disconnected from the feminine, he is feeling pessimistic, doesn't know how to move forward with all of this. How do I approach this? And so he's staying in his corner. We might clarify that. And the feminine is exhausted by the delays, all of these delays. Maybe this feminine is about thinking of having children, and she's thinking time is kicking up. Where are you, masculine? And this whole thing is a facade, because the universe knows that there's a plan for all of us. And so in the meantime, there's silence between these two. Between these two.
Yeah.
Wow. Right. So should we what else? What time? How much time do we have?
We've got another 15 minutes to be able to have a conversation, and then I'll have about 10 to 15 minutes to close out the floor for collective consciousness.
Let's go have a conversation with the masculine and feminine and see where they're at. Woo! Silence, huh? A lot of that. I mean, we just come out of lockdown. So when is the silence going to be over? Let's go find out, shall we? Okay. Spirits, please show us what is going on with this couple here that have popped out. Clarify for us, what is the masculine feeling today about himself and this whole thing? One card, please, Spirit. What's the masculine feeling? Okay. Masculine is going through self-examination. That's what he's feeling. Okay, let's see. What is he thinking? What is he thinking? What is the masculine thinking, spirit? What's he thinking while he's examining himself? That's a good place to be.
Yeah.
That's a real good place to be, examining yourself. Maybe the masculine of learning how to meditate or join a group of some sort. Or if they're addicted to any substance, maybe they're kind of letting it go. Because there's a lot of... What is he thinking? The masculine has real concern. He's thinking about this union. Wow. Masculine is thinking about the union. Wow. Amazing. I love it. I love it. What is the masculine got to say to the feminine? What is he saying if he was here? He would want to say that he's going through good and bad feelings. He's examining himself. Of course, that self-examination came out as what he's feeling. So this is what he would like to say. Baby, I'm feeling good, but I'm feeling bad as well. I'm looking through all the good times and the bad times, and I'm rewinding it over and over in my head. Because why? The real concern is us. Yeah. Okay, let's go see what the feminine is. What is she feeling? Hello, goddess. What are you feeling? And that goes for any... Whoa. The feminine is feeling the self. The feminine is taking care of herself, but because remember, she's exhausted. Yeah. We had exhaustion here. So feminine is like, I'm all about myself. I'm just going to wear my pretty dress, put on my sandals and take a walk and go sit by the riverside all by myself. Yeah. Okay, that's what the feminine is loving herself, which is good. That's what she's feeling. What is she thinking now? Let's see. Because she's not saying much to the masculine. Remember, there's silence. So let's see, what is she saying? She's saying all of this is an illusion. All this, I feel like I'm living an illusion. I feel that this breakdown between us is an illusion. When is this illusion going to go away? When are you going to come and let's do this? This is what she's feeling. And she feels like she's caught in a web of illusion. When is this nightmare going to be over? Wow. Let's see what she got to say now. What's she got to say, mama? You're not saying much. There's been a lot of silence. Talk to us. Talk to the community. Like, ooh. She's saying, I'm just focusing on my hustle. I'm focusing on my hustle. I got to make a living because I have to look after myself. I am not caught in this illusion. I'm exhausted. Too much delays. And so I am, to be defensive, I'm hustling. I'm just hustling. Making my cuts. Yeah, that's the conversation. We're doing the masculine and the feminine, folks. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
No, beautifully done. Can we see something about the untold truth? Because it seems like obviously with I want to dive deep into it.
Okay, so what is the untold truth for both of them? Wow. Oh yeah, we missed that question out, didn't we? Wow, the feminine is hustling. All right. Of course, she's got to make a living.
Jody's saying you've got it, sister. She's saying you've got it. You know, the Divine Feminine's actually been getting the self card for like the last 3 readings. Yeah. So it's really insightful to just really observe, and the fact that like we're literally at the point where it's like, okay, I'm at the point where it's just about the hustle right now. You know, Jody's saying, you know, this is spot on. So that resonates, you know.
Thanks, Jody. It resonates. Oh, wow. Okay, so what is the untold truth for the masculine? What is the thing that he's not saying, he's not letting go? Anger. The masculine is still angry. Still moving through it. It seems like some of you guys might have put him in his place, the masculine energy, and he's feeling, might be feeling angry about himself, with you even. What is your untold truth? What is your untold truth, feminine? Oh, that card flew out. Hope. Oh. No, honestly, I gotta ring the bell for this one. I gotta ring the
bell. That's awesome. Hope I love that.
Untold truth for the feminine. Even though she's mad, even though she's defensive, she's just keeping on her hustle, and deep down within, there's that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spirit doesn't lie. The cards don't tell a lie either. Whoa, that's
Absolutely.
it, folks. That's a reading.
Absolutely. No,
Reading.
I love that. I
We
loved
love it.
it.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for the clarity.
No, I think like thank you because I feel like with everything it is David saying that was amazing. No.
Thank you, David. I'm glad you
it's
like it.
it's so like it really just kind of like shows you the different aspects of what like the different fragments of what's really going on beneath the surface of the relationships at the minute. So just even understanding that the untold truth is anger in a lot of ways for the divine masculine and hope for the divine feminine. She may be sort of in that place of silence right now, or they're in that place of silence right now, but there's still hope. So that's good. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. I'm gonna go.
Thank you, Jody. And guys, my cards are available for sale. If you would like them, please email me. I'm having a sale on there right now, 30% sales off. And you can have your own personal deck. Okay?
Yes.
And
Yes.
this one is called Calling Me Out. So you call yourself out or you call your partner out. And of course, you know about the famous dark side of the soul. Dark side of the soul. And this is just to help you see where you are every day, every time, everywhere.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Let's
No,
hear what you
thank
got to
you.
say, darling. Yes, Jody,
Thank
yeah, for
you.
sure. Email me and let's get together, Jody.
Yeah, DM her and she'll be able to get all the details up to you, man. Honestly, those cards really keep us transparent with ourselves, so it definitely helps.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that is beautiful. I love that name, Hope. There is always hope, David. You're absolutely right. I love that. I love that. I love, love, love. So I'm gonna go ahead and have a look and see what's going on for collective consciousness for this week, because it seems like we're on a pretty tricky road that we're navigating through, but let's dive in and see. Right, Spirit, what is the overall guidance for collective consciousness for this week? What do you need us to know? What I'm seeing as well is that what I'm hearing, firstly, they're saying there's no stone left unturned. Where we're voyaging to at the minute, we've actually done a significant amount of the work. But where we are right now, there's a lot more work to do to level up. And once we're able to sort of move past the next, again, they're sort of giving me specific timelines. They're saying the next 7 weeks. Yeah, the next 7 weeks, once we're able to move past like this, really, we have a lot of work basically to do over the course of the next 7 weeks. But after that, it seems like the load becomes a little bit lighter. It seems like coming into this week, there's a lot of quick changes that have been taking place. There's like a lot of fast communication that we're really sort of navigating through. There's so much, I can completely understand that because there's so much movement that is taking place with the energies right now. So coming into this week, it's almost like there's a blossoming that's kind of taking place this week. So they're saying, fear not the fast pace. It's a blossoming of character that's taking place at the minute as we're navigating through the energies of this week. And it seems like as we're navigating through the energies, we're actually learning how to how can I put it? Dive deeper into the depths of compassion, dive deeper into the depths of our creativity by being able to really connect. The best way that I can put it, so they're showing me that if we're able to connect to our compassionate aspect within ourselves and learn how to empathize a little bit deeper, we'll actually be able to get so much more inspiration for creativity. So when there are situations that may come up that might spin our heads, Spirit saying find room for compassion, because in the midst of the compassion, we'll be able to find something that is a spark of inspiration to create something. And it's going to be different for each individual, they're saying. So yeah, just see whatever situation you're navigating through, see how you can personally be inspired to create something. And they're saying move forward with optimism. There is going to be a lot of pain that's being released, so move forward with the intention of forgiveness. Forgive those who may have perceived to have wronged you. Forgive yourself for putting yourself in those situations or scenarios. And forgive the viewpoint or the perspective that you're observing the experience from, because Spirit's saying by forgiving, they're showing me basically by forgiving, we're able to zoom out of the way that we're perceiving the situation and almost shift our perspective, and it kind of like redefines our lens. Yeah, that's what they're saying. It redefines our lens. So forgiveness helps us to zoom out of the pain and zoom into a new direction. Okay, there we go. Where are we as a collective consciousness for this week, guys? As clearly as you can. Oh, okay. So this week, wow. So we have Ten of Swords energy, and whenever I get that card, it usually lets me know that there's definitely a lot of feeling defeated. It feels like there's a lot of perceived backstabbing. And again, this is kind of why they probably beforehand said that we need to navigate with compassion and forgiveness. Okay. Because what they're saying is that the path that we're actually crossing right now is a lot of this quick change that's taking place is really allowing for us to kind of ground ourselves in the King of Wands energy, right? And this King of Wands is a leader, and it carries a lot of honor. In order to be a leader, you have to know when to follow. And I think that that's one of the things that Spirit's really sort of trying to allow for us. And when I say follow, it doesn't mean how can I put it, putting your own desires to the wayside. It is knowing when to surrender for the purpose of compromise. Okay, a great king knows when to be able to compromise with its subservience. Okay, one of the things that I'm seeing is that what we're navigating through this week is temporary lack of success, which may feel very depressive in energy. Mentally, it may feel very depressive, because the way that we're telling the story in our minds is that we have been stabbed in the back. What they're saying to me that I need to sort of really sort of address is that nobody can hurt us, because technically people only show us parts of ourselves that has already been wounded. So nobody is hurting us in our present day adult experiences. We are simply reliving old experiences of our past, and it's coming up to surface within our engagement with the people that is our soul tribe, you know, their soulmates, and Spirit saying that they've been assigned to come into the space to be able to show us parts of ourselves that is hurt, that is wounded, that is traumatized. It's almost like the way that they're showing it to me is like a wounded soldier that has been shot in the leg, and it's kind of like dragging that leg, and it's kind of limping forward and keeping moving and keeping the momentum moving, and it's kind of like looking out, assuming like it's scared. Basically, it's still living from that vibration of trauma, assuming that the whole world is out to get it. That's not true. The reality is that there's something from the past that you may still be entangled with, and I'm hearing that it may seem like it's haunting you mentally. So you need to be able to take a step back, because what's going on is that we're carrying a lot of baggage this week. We're not able to move on because we're carrying a lot of emotional baggage mentally. We're still trying to think about our feelings, whereas you can't think a feeling, guys. You can only feel it. So I feel like why we're navigating through the depression of this week, which is basically compression, you know, temporary lack of success, because we're kind of being compressed under our expectations or society's expectations or other people's expectations. Spirit saying that as we're navigating through that this week, we're feeling very burnt out. We may feel restless as we're navigating through that kind of energy as well. So we need to be able to shift our perspective, and they're saying forgiveness, guys. Utilize the tool of forgiveness, and it's going to be very, very important for us as we navigate through this week. Okay, what path are we crossing with all of this awesomeness? What path are we crossing with everything that we're going through right now, carrying all this baggage? Ooh, we're crossing the path of mental clarity, guys. Ace of Swords. So we're crossing this path where we're having a breakthrough, right? And we've said so many times, in order to have a breakthrough, sometimes we have to break down, you know, from the old way of thinking about the situation. So I feel like Spirit's saying that where we're navigating through this week is a mental clarity that will bring us the breakthrough that we need for inspiration, guys. And it's almost like I guess they're kind of tying in everything that they said at the start of the reading, where it's like by being able to be compassionate. What they're saying is that when we're holding on to certain hurt feelings, it distorts our ability to receive downloads through our crown chakra. And if we can let go of some of the feelings that we're carrying, we'll actually open ourselves up to allow for the channel of creativity to really flow through us. And I'm hearing that Spirit really wants to be able to utilize us. So if we can get this right and together within the next 3 weeks, okay, Spirit's making promises. If we can do this within the next 3 weeks, we'll be able to really observe what this week has done for us in terms of the breakthrough. We won't necessarily be done with the workload until 7 weeks from now, but Spirit's giving us a very specific timeline. The clarity that you're looking for, you're not going to get all of it this week, but you're on a certain journey for that clarity that's going to take you about 3 weeks to be able to, I guess, come down from the experience. Okay. What's going on in our subconscious mind as we're navigating through these energies this week, Spirit? Okay. We've got a lot going on in the subconscious mind, so bear with me whilst I make some room for all of this awesomeness. Damn. So, guys, we have literally, there's like 9 cards, and I'm really trying to make room to see if I can have a look. Okay, so what I can see is that, in the subconscious mind, a lot of us are feeling like we're dealing with, again, I mentioned stifled creativity, right? Because the crown chakra is being blocked by our ability to just hold things in and hold on to that contention. What I'm seeing is that right now, subconsciously, we're dealing with being open to change. And in order for us to really be able to become open to this change that's taking place, we have to learn how to be more of a team player, guys. That's what Spirit's saying. Right now, everybody is kind of navigating through the situation, and they're like, must save myself. I need to protect myself. I need to this, I need to that. And Spirit's like, in order to be able to engage in a relationship, because it requires relating with others, you need to be more of a team player. And subconsciously, you're trying to understand how you can be a better team player, how you can actually be a little bit more grounded in your masculine and feminine energy. I'm seeing that the feminine energy is a little bit fiery at the minute in terms of the way that it's sort of communicating subconsciously. So we're kind of learning how to stabilize that as well. We're learning how to control that fiery element. I want to say master it because I don't like the word control, because I think it gives us this perception that we're in control of stuff, and that's a false narrative. I never want to do that to anyone. But we will learn how to master the fiery element of our divine feminine aspect, which is being very, very fiery at the minute. And they're saying the reason why the energy is so fiery is because there's a desire for creativity. Refocus, resume, rechannel the energy, because we're off focus. They're saying we're off focus, and we're too wrapped up into the details of things. We're too wrapped up into the specifics of things. We need to be able to focus on the journey that's taking place, and not be so fixed on the outcome. Responsibility. So we kind of have to figure out, they're saying to me, you never win by basically telling somebody about what they're not doing right. You can only win by encouraging them to continue to do the things that they are doing right, so that they can focus on those aspects of themselves and grow more into that. Otherwise, if you continue to badger them and beat them with the things that they're not doing right, you will continue to feed them to their own shadows and demons of insecurity. Yeah. Okay. But it's showing that we'll be able to master it. It's definitely showing that we'll be able to master it. What's going on in the conscious mind for us as we navigate through this week's Spirit? What's going on in the conscious mind? As clearly as you can. Ooh, in the conscious mind, we're dealing with heartbreak. In the conscious mind, we're dealing with heartbreak. I want to say the heartbreak is disappointment. I feel like it's disappointment. I feel like it's disappointment with just the way that things are kind of like growing at the minute. It feels like rejection, for lack of a better way of putting it, because that's how they're saying it to me. It feels like in the conscious mind, we're dealing with rejection. Yeah, absolutely. Loss. Absolutely. So we're navigating through a lot of painful separations at the minute. And that's another thing with like the retrogrades. The tides will clear out certain people, and it may be temporary. Once the retrogrades are over, you will be able to see if the tides draw them back in. Okay, so just ride the waves of what's taking place right now, and try your best to not further disturb the peace of what's taking place right now, because what they're saying is that we have a choice. Okay, we have a choice. If we can go through forgiveness this week and open our hearts, we'll actually be able to allow for ourselves to receive the blessing that's coming after these retrogrades. Okay, what is the outcome for us navigating through the energies of this week, Spirit? What is the outcome overall? Okay. Right, so the outcome for us, guys, is okay, not bad. Okay, the outcome is comma. Okay, so
It's interesting because like during the Astro Live, I actually said that this week we'll be navigating through like releasing a lot of karmic debts and ancestral patterns. So what they're showing is that the outcome is that we'll start to release a lot of karma that is not in alignment with our value. A lot of us will be releasing a lot of karma that has been plaguing our lineage. It's been affecting our family dynamics. It's been affecting our situation, our broken home circumstances. It's been affecting our interactions with each other where we're not able to get as much clarity. There's some truth. I want to say this. They're saying to me that there's some truth that is going to be coming to surface within the next 3 to 5 days as well. And it's interesting because I know Divine Masculine had the deception card. So there may be some truth that is coming to clarify a lot of the distortion that we're sort of navigating through this week. And it seems like somebody, once you receive this truth, it's going to cause a lot of hesitancy and a lot of paranoia and maybe being a little bit on edge about whether or not you want to continue to engage in your dynamic or relationships with the people that Spirit's going to be revealing the truth about them to you. There's choices to be made. I'm just going to end it in saying that as well. They're just saying that there's choices to be made. You can make a decision here and now and know that whatever decision that you make, it doesn't have to be final, but know that whatever decision that you make in the moment, you need to honor it as well. You can't make the decision and be very flippant and going back and forth and back and forth. If you're going to make a decision, commit to that decision is what Spirit's saying. And if you're committed to that decision with consistent effort, you will reap the benefits of the price that you're paying, is what I'm hearing. So yeah, we just kind of have to make a decision this week, guys, and decide to commit to that decision once we've made it, because we're releasing a lot of negative karma. So it's not a bad bet, but it's a challenging one.
It's beautiful, beautiful, well put. We got work to do, as usual.
We do, yeah.
So it's all about forgiveness. You know, it's the biggest issue for all living beings. That we're going to have to, I mean, forgiveness is really about knowing that what was done to you was wrong, but letting go of it. And so I hope that we can all let go and release and be a bit lighter as we transfer into the next season. Well done. Beautifully put. I have taken the message for myself. As always, every time we do this, there seems to be a message in there for me. And I hope it's the same for everyone. Thank you so much.
Awesome. No, thank you. I think even being able to sort of like tie in an understanding of like the divine masculine and feminine energy reading as well, like with the conscious mind going through heartbreak and separation and the silence that divine masculine and feminine are going through. I feel like it's merged everything together to give like an overall perspective, and I'm really grateful to just be in the space where we can get this insight. I'm eternally grateful. So thank you, guys.
As well as you, that we're doing this together to heal the collective consciousness, you know, to raise awareness of our divine right and to kind of learn how to treat each other better. And, you know, doing this, tarot is just another modality that is now available to all of us to be able to do that. And to all the collective, I love you guys so much. And my heart just opens up for a better world. That's all I pray for. I send you much love. Much love.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you guys so much for stopping into the space. Thank you guys for sticking it out with us. Thank you guys for riding the waves, because I know there's probably points where you wanted to run, because it's like we lift skirts here, okay? We don't go light about it. But if you guys are interested in Mystic Tira's deck as well, everything is created, you know, by her and her divine connection to source. So definitely be sure to reach out to her, DM her. She'll be able to let you know how you can get your hands on those awesome cards. And guess we'll see you guys next week for more unfolding.
Yeah. Stay blessed. Stay well. Stay focused.
Absolutely.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, beautifuls. See you next week.
Bye.
Take care.
You too.
That's all, folks. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for more. That way you can be kept in the know of when I do upload these awesome videos for you.